Before I start, I have something to ask of you. Can you all put your cell phone? There should be a plastic bag under all of your seats. Can you put your cell phones in the bag? It's okay if you look at it through the speech, but
Put it up here.
yeah, put it up. According to the Pew Research Center, 91% of teens 13 to 17 years old in the U.S. have access to the internet through mobile devices. Hi, my name is Charlotte, and I'm a 16-year-old that is not attached to my phone anymore. I wanted to learn about how cell phones affect modern people, and more specifically, teenagers and children. Having ADHD, I wondered even further about how technologies are changing us and how we work depending on them. So I looked into it, and what I found was a lot of fear. People, mainly parents, are afraid of their young children and teens on phones. Some have a right to be. Ultimately, it just might depend on your child. According to Candace Odgers, who is a professor at University of California, Irvine, cell phones don't have any evidence for causing mental health issues. She presents the information that 1 in 5 children under the age of 18 suffer from a mental disorder. But that's not crazy. It's always been that way. So if our phones aren't affecting the mental health crisis, what is? Well, it's commonly accepted that children that use their phones have a higher chance of exhibiting symptoms of mental challenges like ADHD, ADD, anxiety, or even depression. But these symptoms are not directly caused by phones. They are caused by the mishandling of electronics. Often at night before going to bed, teenagers bring their phones to bed and spend hours on them before sleeping. This is startling in the fact that a teenager needs 8 to 10 hours of sleep in comparison to an adult's 7 to 9 recommended hours of sleep. Sleep deprivation is one of the many results of teens' addiction to cell phones. In Jean Twinge's book, iGen, a survey shows that most teens get less than 7 hours of sleep per night. It is also known that people with insomnia have a 10% greater chance to suffer from clinical depression. That number bumps up to 17% for clinical anxiety and insomnia. A study done by Journal of the American Medical Association confirms a connection between ADHD and cell phone use. In the study, 15 and 16-year-olds without symptoms of ADHD to start were given 24-month check-ins in relation to their social media usage. Periodic surveys show up to 10.5 greater chance on having more ADHD symptoms depending on the amount they use social media, which could be the effect of the phone, or it could be the type of teens that are more invested in their phones. When you actually sit down to think about the ADHD brain and social media, it starts to click how addictive these apps can be for them. So I took a common checklist, and I ran it through what teenagers do on social media. There are several types of ADHD: impulsive, inattentive, and hyperactive. An example of impulsivity is interrupting a conversation or doing something for no apparent reason, like posting something and realizing later you had no idea why you posted it. Inattentiveness is failing to do or pay attention to something. I mean, if you spend a couple hours on your phone, you might forget about your homework. The last is hyperactivity. And some of these examples of this is not sitting still or being constantly busy. Have you ever seen those apps where you touch the piano tiles and you have to touch them rapidly fast? Phones can pose a serious distraction for teens and children with ADHD. Why not get your work done when you can be on your phone? Why not post this right now? Why not do anything on earth that you are doing right now and be on your phone? I used to ask myself these questions, and I'm sure many other people do too. Cell phones and social media can seem like a tar pit to the ADHD brain with constant messages, time wasters, notifications that keep anyone wanting to be on their phone more. I believe there can be a balance between phones and doing enriching life activities. My good friends at school have their phones as a privilege. The school I go to is a school where the students spend several weeks in the outdoors. So I asked my friend, how do they balance getting things done, entertainment, phone time? And they told me having set times like meal times when they don't have their phone helps to not get tempted. She also says that it helps her as a tool to distress. Now that's an interesting concept. Using a phone to de-stress is interesting. Different meditation apps exist that can help you calm down. There are even several apps that can help people cope with anxiety, ADHD, and depression. These apps often cost little to no money and do so much good for people. In fact, some apps can have valuable information about things teens are passionate about. Mindfulness and meditation apps are an example of technology being used as a tool rather than a hindrance. But these apps seem to be more popular with adults rather than teens and kids. Social media remains the king of the hill in popularity for teens. Social media can also affect something called social anxiety, in which people get anxious about missing out on things or fear social situations. Social media can help and hinder this mental issue. These apps can help social anxiety by creating a less stressful social environment, but many people with social anxiety often get obsessed and addicted to platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter because of the like, follower, comment, and share mechanisms. Getting very few likes can lower a person's self-esteem, while getting many likes can make sure a user comes back to the site and future use of the site. As people become addicted, the creators of the apps get more and more recognition. If you don't believe me, look at Facebook. That algorithm has been for a while now, and Mark Zuckerberg is one of the most prominent internet website owners. Notifications are a thing in themselves. A study done by Martin Pilat and Liz Lula reports that there are some negatives and some positives to notifications. In the study, participants turned their phone on Do Not Disturb for 24 hours. Partially because they couldn't find many of the participants that wanted to do the whole study for a week. The findings after 24 hours reported that the people without their notifications were more on task, had more productivity, and compared to when their phone notifications were on. 2 years after the study, 22 of the participants decided to limit their notifications or completely go without. Before my TED Talk even began, I asked you to put your cell phones under your seat. Now, how many of you have looked at your phone's notifications since then? Good job! I'm honestly surprised about that. If any of you did look at your phone, going on a cell phone detox may be a smart choice. A cell phone detox can be like any kind of detox. Although people struggle without their phone by their side, it is possible for anyone to do this. There are even many different blogs that can help you choose how to forget your phone. A digital detox can even help depression. Using face-to-face communication instead of digital communication is important because of the human interaction you get. It lowers blood pressure and stress. People who have more social interaction with each other have lower anxiety and depression risks. The internet and cell phone addicts are often known as people with nomophobia. Smartphone addiction is a true problem for some individuals, and its symptoms can be like any other kind of addiction. Some of these being failure to go through with cell phone moderation, turning to cell phones when confronted with feelings, putting a strain on relationships or work, loss of sense of time, and going through withdrawal when cell phone is not in reach. How many people have seen somebody put their phone on a coffee table walk away for a minute, and then they come back and the person's all antsy, and they pick up their phone again. Probably a lot of you, right? Yeah. So what this all means is that cell phones can be bad for people with different mental challenges, directly affect their lives. On the other hand, technology can greatly improve your lives as well. Moderation is key. Plenty of people that have mental health issues use cell phones on a daily basis and still function. Phones may be threatening to us, but they are part of our lives, and we must know how to work with them and around them. Thank you for coming today.